Here I am going to talk about population versus sample variance and standard deviation. Okay, so let's look at this example. Ages of children in a family are 8, 10, 6, 7, 12. Okay. Considering this as a population data, let's find population mean, population variance, population standard deviation. For population mean, we have a formula, sum x over n. So sum of x equals to 8 plus 10 plus 6 plus 7 plus 12. So these are the data values. And n equals to 5. So we have 5 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in our data. So that's where the 5 comes from. So when we divide the whole thing by 5, we get 8.6. So that's the population mean. Let's look for population variance. So this is the formula for population variance. Now, let's plug in the data values in the formula. So this 8 comes from our data here, and this 8.6 is our population mean. So looking at the formula, that's how we get 8 minus 8.6 squared. So we are just plugging in our numbers in the formula. So similarly, this 10 comes from here, from our data, and this 8.6 is our population mean. So similarly, we will follow the pattern for the rest of the data values. And further doing the math, we get 4.64 as a population variance. Okay. Now for population standard deviation. Population standard deviation is the square root of variance. So our variance is 4.64. So finally we get 2.15 as a population standard deviation. Now let's consider this as a sample data. And let's find sample mean, sample variance, and sample standard deviation. So the formula for sample mean is sum of x over n. Sum of x is 8 plus 10 plus 6 plus 7 plus 12. These are data values. Okay, and our n is number of data values. When we do this math, we get 8.6 as a sample mean. Now let's look at the sample variance. So this is the formula for sample variance. Okay. Now let's plug in the data values in our formula. So this 8 comes from the data, and this 8.6 comes from sample mean. 10 comes from the data, and this 8.6 comes from the sample mean from here. So we'll just do the same thing for the rest of the data. When we do this math, we get 5.8 as a sample variance. Now for a standard deviation is the square root of variance. So our sample variance is 5.8. Therefore, our sample standard deviation is 2.41. So now let me show you how to do it in a calculator. So let me pull up my calculator up in the screen. Okay. So now hit stat, then hit enter. So put your data in your list 1. So they are 8, 10, 6, 7, 12. Now go to stat, then hit this arrow so that we can highlight calc. Okay. Now make sure your one variable stats is highlighted, then hit enter. Okay. So then hit enter. So now if you look at the calculator's screen, so you see mean is 8.6. So that's what we got for mean using formula. And this one is sample standard deviation, which is 2.41. So that's what we got for standard deviation for samples using formula also. And this sigma x is standard deviation for population, which is 2.15. That's what we got using the formula for sample standard deviation for population. So now let me show you how to do it in an Excel. Okay. So let me pull up my Excel up here. Here, let me enter data, so which is 8, 10, 6, 7, and 12. Now, so just click in one of the cells over here. You can click anywhere. So I'll just click it here. Then to find mean, you can type equals, then type average, then put parentheses, then go here and highlight your data, then close your parentheses, and then hit enter. So we get 8.6. And remember, that's what we got. This is the same number that we got using calculator and also using the formula, which is right here also. Okay. And to find a standard deviation per sample, so type equals, then type STDEV dot S, okay. Then put parentheses, then go here and highlight your data, then close your parentheses. So this will give you a standard deviation per sample. Then hit enter. So this is 2.41, and this is also the standard deviation per sample. So, and remember, that's what we got using the calculator too. So, and this is how this is the formula. This is how you can, let me stress that little bit so that we can see. So this is the formula for a standard deviation per sample. So let's look. So now let's find a standard deviation for population. So for that, type type equals, then type STDEV dot P, then put parentheses, then highlight this data, then close parentheses, then hit enter. So we get 2.15 for standard deviation for population, and that's what we had. That's what we got using calculator and also using the formula. Now let me show you how to find variance for sample and variance for population. So here I will show you how to find variance for sample. So type equals, then type VAR dot S, and then put parentheses and go here and highlight the data. Okay. So then hit enter. Okay. So variance for sample is 5.8. Now let's find variance for population. So type equals, then type VAR dot P, then put parentheses, then go here and highlight the data, then close your parentheses, then hit enter. So we have 4.64 for variance for population.